Hey guys, Allie here. So today is the second episode of Is the SCAD Worth It series. So today I'll be talking about pretty much the basic steps that you get started with when you're wanting to apply at SCAD. So questions that you want to ask yourself, is SCAD right for you as a transfer student, what you should be looking for, getting accepted into SCAD as also as applying there, and then programs that you can do before you even start. You can also take these steps and maybe you don't even end up going into SCAD. So this is just kind of like the first few steps that you take when you're looking into SCAD and stuff like that. Kind of sounds like jumbled in my brain as a name, but I have notes because the first time I recorded this, I was all over the place. So I've already talked about, is SCAD worth it? To me, yes, unless you are financially like unstable or something like that, but at least you're warned. You can go ahead and check out that video if you want to like refresher or whatever I'm talking about there, but right now we're talking about if SCAD is for you. And the first question you have to ask yourself is, do you have that passion in your belly? Now I'm not talking about that like feeling in your belly when you eat something funny like from that Chinese restaurant down the street that looked a little sketchy. We're talking about the passion in your belly. That means that the work that you're doing within the art field and creative field or anything like that, if you're gonna do it for yourself and you're not gonna do it for money. I will tell you right now that the whole starving artist thing is kind of real. It's real as in that the freelancing life is kind of the starving world, just because one week you'll make like a buttload of money and then maybe the next week you won't make anything. So it's really a hit or miss and stuff like that. It's a very hard way to get into those like top seats where you're just like the one making bank, 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 bank. So that passion in your belly means that you're gonna do it for yourself, that you're gonna do it for happiness, that maybe you won't make enough money to buy that Lexus that you've always wanted and stuff like that. Now don't get me wrong, there's a crap ton of photographers who make a great living and they love what they're doing, they do it for many years. But as soon as you get out of college, it's not always the easiest thing in the world. Aside from that, I do have a lot of friends that I graduated with. They're working at Vogue, they're working at Saks Fifth Avenue, they're working with major photographers in New York, and they loved living there. And they're totally happy, they absolutely love it, very successful. So the passion in your belly is just something pretty much that you have to ask yourself, like, am I willing to do this for the cost of just making me happy, making my heart happy, making that passion in my heart and my brain be happy and connect with each other. I hope that makes sense. It's kind of hard to do it unless you're actually in finals and you're just like, I'm doing this because I love this kind of thing. I think the best example that I have, that the passion in my belly that I had when I was in school, is that I would be taking a Studio 3 class and I'd be working on, you know, some portraits or some fashion shots or still life stuff for maybe 3 hours to 5 hours or something like that, maybe even more. And then the second half of the day I would go to the 4th floor and I would actually be printing on wood, I'd be printing on metal, I would be making skins to put on tiles and stuff like that. And that made me so happy to do both fine art and commercial all in the same day. And it just kind of gave me a break from commercial, and then once I got the fine art done, I was like, this is what I'm here for. This is amazing. So I definitely do miss that. But anyway, second question, what do you want to study? Now this question is obviously going to change once you probably get to SCAD. There are so many majors that you've never heard about that you're just kind of like, game design, I didn't even know that was a major, fibers, or accessory design, or sound design and stuff like that. And you're just like, oh my God, I had no idea. You definitely want to do your research into what you want to study, and it's going to change probably when you get there. Me personally, I went for photography, graduated with photography. My second option was interior design, my third one was fashion. Stick with photography, but taking any of those classes, you can definitely ask around, ask professors, ask your friends, and even ask maybe like graduates if you know any, or maybe some students that are a year or two older than you. Do your research and think about really hard what you want to study. It's totally okay if you change it. Your first few semesters at SCAD, you'll just only take like drawing 1, design 1 and 2, and then color theory and stuff like that. So you have the time to do all that because all those classes are required for all majors. There are some things like life drawing, and then maybe you might start a little bit behind with like your photo 1 class or something like that. So the next question is, do you have experience in that field? This is not necessarily a requirement, but it's totally up to you if you want to have this experience within the field. I highly recommend it, but it's not required. I was working with Lisa Creates Photography for about, it was like senior year of high school that I started, so now it's been like 6 years. Getting that experience from her definitely makes a difference. It helps you out with any questions that you have, as well as pricing yourself as a freelance photographer, starting your own business, how to work with people, what equipment that you need. And I think you can get that if you're working with like an illustrator, if you're working with a game design major, with a company, a graphic designer for websites or anything like that. As long as you have a mentor that you like fully trust and you can go for any questions, it seriously helps once you get to those business practices class in senior year. Next is AP classes that you have from high school dash a good portfolio. AP classes, if you didn't know, if you're in high school, I know it sounds really scary because I was even scared to take an honors class. My sister always signed me up for standard classes and then I got signed up for an honors class. The whole entire thing, kind of scary, but AP classes I definitely highly recommend because at this point you're paying for free college credit, and I apologize if your teachers have already told you this, but you're paying for a free college credit. Then after that, you are actually taking a test, which can be really stressful and stuff like that. But once you actually take that test, you're gonna thank yourself senior year. For example, I took 3 AP classes. I took AP Art History, AP Psychology, and AP Art. Art, you had to get like a 4 to actually count for anything. Art History, I think you also had to get a 3 for it to count as Art History 2. I did not. I got like a 3 and then I got a 2 for Art History. So my third one, I don't know how, I passed AP Psychology. I got a 3 and I ended up getting that credit towards SCAD. And so I got earlier sign up times as well as I got to only have 2 classes at my last quarter. Having like only 2 classes made it so much easier for me to get work printed, resume done, business cards done, as well as looking for jobs and stuff like that. It made it so much easier. It made time for me to go have a part-time job. I wasn't stressing as much and all I had to do was focus on my actual senior project. Definitely highly recommend AP classes. As for a good portfolio, pretty much the only thing I can say about the portfolio I submitted, it pretty much kind of had the elements of design and elements of photography. And elements of... Oh my god, okay. My art history, my teacher from art class from high school would kill me, as well as design 1. They would absolutely kill me. Oh, it's the principles and elements of design. All right, I got it. So if you really want me to, I can list principles and elements of design on either side or whatever. You guys can Google it. Pretty much what it is the things that you need as an artist and to have in mind at least. You don't have to follow them exactly, but if you notice with any picture, this is what we use to critique photos, to look at photos, and what like kind of gets our attention and stuff like that. So example, repetition or anything like that. It makes us look at the photo longer, captures our attention and stuff like that. And repetition would be Andy Warhol or something like that with his industrial creations of Campbell's soup or any sort of like major logo like that. That is repetition. So you can definitely Google that and stuff like that. So what your portfolio should have is an understanding of the elements of design, principles of design, kind of like the basic things for photography. I'm going to use photography as an example just because that's what I know. If you're looking into painting or drawing or sculpting, you can use things that are drawing based that you did in art. It's okay if you're going into illustration or sculpture and you don't have anything in your portfolio yet. So pretty much my portfolio had as a photographer, it had like some Photoshop stuff done where you could see like the difference, like the retouching difference. I had a slow shutter. I took a picture of a waterfall. As stupidly like cheesy as that is, it was a waterfall, but it counted as slow shutter. I know, it's totally crazy how it's cheesy it is, but believe me, this is seriously what I brought in. As well as something that was kind of like some low lighting. Now my photos were terrible. Like if I look at it now, I'm like, oh my god, get this away from me. I can't believe I like photograph this and submit this for my portfolio. But what it ended up doing is that it shows you a little bit, a taste of what you actually know as a photographer. You already know how to shoot in low lighting, already know how to slow down a shutter, have a higher shutter for like action shots and stuff like that. Same thing with your aperture to make sure you get those macro shots versus those all in focus shot. So pretty much that is what was really important in portfolio as well, just showing that your knowledge of photography, or for example with drawing, like your knowledge of shading, your knowledge of like cross hatching or dotting, you know, these like basic elements and stuff, or maybe even something like mixing colors with painting. I mean, I know those are bad examples, but like I said, I only did photography. Second is, where are you traveling from and to what campus? Just to clarify this is pretty much saying like, where are you from? Where's your hometown? Which campus will you be traveling to? This is a really big question as well because I personally think that the Savannah campus is the best. I never went to the Atlanta campus. Lacoste is amazing. You probably don't want to spend all 4 years there. And Hong Kong is amazing as well. So if you live in Europe or you live in Hong Kong, then going to the Hong Kong campus would make the most sense. But if you live in California and you want to go to Savannah. You have to keep this in mind too. You have to keep this in mind too because that means you're going to have to pay for tickets as well as like moving there, moving all your stuff there, maybe have to mail it. And people come from all over as well as Central America, they come from Europe. Anyways, you just have to keep that in mind of where you're actually from, the expenses that you're going to have for traveling, what you're actually going to bring, as well as what campus you're going to go to. Because sometimes people go to Atlanta campus because they love Atlanta. I personally love Savannah, that was just me, but I never went to the Atlanta campus, but I wish I did. Okay, so I think I'm going to stop this video here because I feel like this was kind of a lot. Oh, as for the other videos of being a transfer student, getting accepted and applying for SCAD, as well as the programs you can take, I will talk about that in a different video because the whole is this SCAD right for you kind of thing, it's a little bit longer than I thought it was. If you have any questions at all, just let me know down below. I'll do my best to answer any sort of questions, as well as if anyone else is from SCAD, they have some like pretty good knowledge of like, hey, I was a freshman last year, this is what changed since Allie was a freshman. Comment down below if you have any questions at all. I can do my best. Like I said, I was a freshman doing photography a few years ago, so like I said, things probably have changed. Alrighty, so the next video will be transfer students. So the people that are going to community college and then they're just like, hey, I want to go to SCAD, but where do I start? Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. See the first video of Is SCAD Worth It? And then if you want to see a haul video of Abercrombie & Fitch, because that's my favorite, then you can check out that as well. Alrighty guys, I will see you guys in a later video. Bye guys!